Tonight, Darian crosses into the southwest Indian Ocean with other developments ongoing in tonight's tropical weather bulletin. And now the latest on December 22nd around the wide world of tropics. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. Darian remains a powerful Category 4 as it crosses into Meteo France territory, whilst up north our analyst team have deemed 98B to be a tropical depression. The number of storms so far this year remains at 92, meaning that 2022 still remains an average year with just 9 days left to go as we remain code blue on Ticos. As is to be expected even, nothing is active in the Atlantic with 161 days left until the next hurricane season. Hopefully that remains the case and we won't be anticipating a new name system any earlier than that. 94W remains with a very slim chance of formation as it continues its trek northwards with nothing else on the horizon as this season draws to a close. Now, according to our internal analyst team, 98B has made it to tropical depression status as it continues its approach to Sri Lanka. Down south, Darien has crossed the 90 degrees east line into Meteo France territory and continues to traverse westwards. However, it is not expected to impact any land areas, but it is expected to persist for quite some time. 90S has had its chances raised to 60% in the next 5 days as it continues to terrorize the Western Australian Northern Territory border coastline. Believe it or not, this is our code blue system. We can really only wait and see to find out what the system does in the coming days. Now onto the satellite imagery, as the Atlantic is out of season, no activity is happening here as is to be expected. In the Western Pacific, 94W continues to exhibit its 10% chance as it continues northwards with nothing much else expected as this season here draws to a close. 98B is now classified as a tropical depression on approach to Sri Lanka according to our internal analyst team, but it doesn't look so great on the satellite images right about there. I even struggled where's the center, where do I place the icon? Over in the Southwest Indian and Australian region, Darian continues to impress with its Category 4 strength as it continues westwards into Meteo France territory, and 90S is running out of time as it approaches land. However, it currently has a 60% chance of formation within 5 days. The latest on Cyclone Darian, according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, is that this system will weaken as it traverses westwards before making a southward turn and continuing to weaken as it does that. So here's a closer look at Cyclone Darian, currently located at 13.3 degrees south and 88.3 degrees east, with a wind speed of 130 miles an hour and a central pressure of 937 millibars, according to our internal analyst team. The forecast for the system calls for weakening as well as it traverses westwards and then a gradual curve southwards. This animation really only goes out to 3 days, so beyond then isn't depicted on here, but from the last I saw, Meteo France expects strengthening on that point, so the only way to find out is to wait. On the models, Darian has peaked and is expected to gradually weaken from this point onwards due to shear picking up despite falling to almost zero, as I forget to hit the button to show that next graphic. Sea surface temperatures remaining just above the favourable threshold and mid-level relative humidity picking up to slightly above favourable levels in a few days. As of now, they are unfavourable for further development. 90S is expected to pick up some steam shortly as well, as shear falls to around 10 knots but picks up again gradually in a few days' time. Sea surface temperatures remain way above favourable for the short time it has over open waters, and mid-lower relative humidity is also way above favourable for development. 98B is not expected to do much according to the models, but over time it is expected to slowly get its act together as shear for this system fluctuates but remains generally in the 10 to 20 knot range, as well as sea surface temperatures and mid-level relative humidity remaining favourable despite the model split on the track. So onto the sea surface temperatures. The West Pacific remains nice and toasty with 29 degree waters. Both the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea are cooling off with 27 to 28 degree temperatures. The tropical Atlantic also cooling off with 27 or so degrees, with the Gulf of Mexico displaying temperatures along the US coastline of as low as 20 degrees Celsius. The tropical eastern and central Pacific remaining largely with 26 degrees, with waters off the northern coast of Australia topping 30 degrees. Onto the anomalies. The eastern and central are a mess of above and below average. The West Pacific, as always, remains unchanged with warmer than average waters. The Atlantic still remaining above, the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea remaining also mostly above, but displaying pockets of either at or below average. The Southwest Indian mostly above with isolated dots of below, and finally the South Pacific mostly above, but the equatorial region affected by the cooler than average waters of the La Nina, which appears to be weakening. Thank God for that. Oceanic heat content as a whole in the Atlantic is on the decline as the season has wrapped up. However, isolated pockets still remain but aren't as prevalent as they once were. It's also winding down in the Western Pacific, but it is still noticeable east of the Philippines and much more so around the equatorial regions. But below the equator, this is where oceanic heat content is very noticeable, especially off the eastern coast of Papua New Guinea, extending all the way out, I believe, to American Samoa, I want to say, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Please don't quote me on that. Don't forget, you can go to our merch store where you can buy things such as individual animations, mugs, jackets, t-shirts, and pillows. Also worth mentioning is our line of still waiting for Hone shirts, marking over 1,000, or rather closer to 1,200 now actually, days of waiting for one basin, which is now out of season, to produce one teensy tiny little storm just so it can finally get named. Although saying that, last season it did try more than once to do just that. Anyways, on this day in 1991, the only system active was Cyclone Alexandra, according to the Saffir Simpson scale, topping out at a Category 3, but according to Meteo France was only a severe tropical storm. Alexandra stayed out to sea most of its life, with damages at pretty much minimal. Alright, now on to the next naming list. Now, if we do get another name in the Atlantic, it will get the name Owen. Similarly, in the Eastern Pacific, if we get another system, it will retain the name Seymour. And like I said, we have been waiting for close to 1,200 days just to get the name of Hone. Up next in the Western Pacific, if we get another system, the next name is Sanvu. Up next in the North Indian is Mocha. And bringing things down south, the next name in the Australian region is Ellie, followed by Are You Ready for Freddy? Up next in the Southwest Indian Ocean is Chinezo, followed by Dingani. And finally, up next in the South Pacific is Harley. That's all from me for now. We'll see you for another tropical weather bulletin, probably not by me, tomorrow night. But if I don't see you before then, have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.